Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. We
Hello.
are ready to get this on the road.
I'm. I want you to meet the other characters so bad.
I assume I will soon.
I'm hoping.
I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I've spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Mikisha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right on the wall.
It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shichan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is?
No, please. No thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. He wants to ditch them as much as you do.
Yeah. One flight of stairs up and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one.
And with an almost as ugly painting.
Yeah, this one's not so bad. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. Problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. Classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there is a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway?
Just start opening doors.
Hello, anyone in here? I bet on the latter, and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though. It's just barely ajar, so that I can see it's open and nothing else. When is the door not ajar? When it's ajar.
Hi.
You've heard that one, right?
Yeah.
It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open. While this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask for directions no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at the moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to the school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. Oh, you can actually hear the door creaking. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though it is much easier to open than I anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello of my lips on my lips is quickly snatched away. New character.
Woo!
This is not as I was expecting. Yeah, from this point, I don't remember this character.
She's one of my favorites.
Really?
I like her, yeah.
Okay.
She's very nice.
I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. She looks so peaceful. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me.
Hello there. May I help you?
Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me that she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Foreigners?
She has blonde hair.
Yeah.
So, Japanese people don't have blonde hair, naturally.
Yeah. But anime it confuses me in that respect because they're supposed to be Japanese, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, not always.
what's that?
Not always. There's a lot of anime that just like take place in like some fantasy land, obviously.
Right.
But even for but this one does take place in Japan. There's no weird hair colors other than Misha, and I'll
Yeah.
just spoil it because we're not going down Shizune's route. Misha's dyeing her hair.
Okay.
She's a natural brunette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hair color is weird in anime to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have like pink hair and blue hair. Hi, sorry for intruding, and was just kind of lost. It takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand.
Care to take a seat?
Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. Oh, is she blind?
I keep reading.
Oh, okay, I see it. That and the slight cloudiness in her eyes means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Just looking at her face, she's like looking away.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. Guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. Calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office.
I take it you're the new student to Yamaku?
Yeah, I transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One, one which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action.
I'm Lily Satel. Pleased to meet you.
As an American name, American first name, I guess. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup.
Would you care for a drink?
Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a nod, kind of nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along the shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. Seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see her around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities that the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink.
So,
Soft point brings me out of my silent observation.
which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school.
School library. Shizune and some classmates told me it was on this floor. Why did he not want to say her name?
I'm assuming that it was a like, oh, she may not even know who those two people are because they may
Oh,
not be in the same class.
oh, okay. She finishes pouring water into the teacups as she nods. A small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it being stirred.
I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no?
That's right, in the science room with Mojoe. He gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand.
He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do.
He's a comic book character. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. Really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up.
Yeah, after you accept the tea.
Yeah, it's kind of too late at that point. Nonetheless, the smell is quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Satao. It tastes really nice. He smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face.
Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal.
It says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. Guess I should try to ask her about herself, as it really doesn't seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes.
Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students.
Mr. Miyagi? Mr. Miyagi is your teacher? Oh, cool. I see. What does he teach? Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem in the least bit put off by it.
My, there's no need to change your speech on my account.
Sure. Sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here.
An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions.
Category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind the school that I'd like to have at lunch at.
I come here fairly often during lunchtimes. My duties as class representative don't leave me enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea.
Representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lee seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kinds of clubs are there to join?
The more popular ones are track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunchtimes. The baseball club and the book club are in the room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as art and music clubs.
At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. Wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club?
It isn't, though it is encouraged.
Good, that's a relief. Really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it as Lily does the same. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. The time's gone quickly. Have we seen him before this point?
Yeah, on the very first episode we did.
Yeah, okay.
We don't see him very often. He looks kind of like a nerd.
Looks like a nerd?
He looks kind of dorky to me, but I think that's just the school uniform that he's forced to wear.
Yeah.
The khaki pants and the tie and the white shirt and he just seems a little dorky to me, especially with a little thing sticking up from his head, the little piece of hair.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, and just he makes I think he would look better in other clothes. Is basically what I'm saying. Sorry.
Right, she's blind. Of course, she can't see the sun setting. Just looks like the sun is starting to set. Seems to come as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of time.
Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library so long.
Quickly moved to alley?
LA.
Alley? Her concern? Not familiar with that word. Ah, no, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. Probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case.
True, it's open until 6:30 during weekdays.
Quick glance at my watch confirms I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her.
It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is?
She's definitely a lot more pleasant than Misha or Suzune.
Yeah.
But I wonder if this is interesting enough for people watching. Couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing.
It's alright, I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you.
It gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that has been slipped into the hands of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation.
Gary, can I be right back?
Okay.
I am ready to continue now.
Okay. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway onto the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers. We slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door to the warm-looking room. Apparently it's situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is a wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. I wonder if I went down this pathway before last time we played it.
Probably because I hate Shizune and Misha. This will lead to other. There's two more actually, no, there's 3 more characters you haven't met yet.
Oh, is that all?
Well, okay. There's more characters in that, but there's 3 more routes that of characters that you haven't met yet.
Alright. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with a distinct smell of old books, giving the place of an almost old world air. I love the smell of new books, by the way. At least I did when I was reading books. There don't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in the school grounds or the dorms.
Yuko, are you there?
He says it into thin air since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Whoa, an earthquake apparently. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail.
Aww.
Origin Apparently, the librarian quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention.
Hi, Lily. How can I help you?
Voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing the back of her head.
Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. It's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped. And when I was looking for both of them, you came in and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry I couldn't know. It's okay, it's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me.
She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter.
Yes, worse things have happened to you.
The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression. Then she shuffles papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit a library perfectly.
Oh, Lily, did you get my message?
I'll stop there.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.